I'll go through all the recent updates on VRM, and at the end, we'll show some some significant new features coming soon. All right, first I'll go through some recent additions to the dashboard on the VRM portal. And some of them rely on a new Venus OS version still to come. And after the meeting, later today, we'll send you an overview of what was presented and also which things are available already or which things will only work in January or February once we've released this 2.80 version. So to start, already released a while ago, if you click the show details button, then all the gray boxes show up are the details per PV array. This was added over the last few months, and I think it was finished somewhere in October or November even. And what it shows is for each of the arrays, its name and then the voltage, the amps and the power, which is nice. You can see all the details on one page. You don't have to go to the advanced page. And if you have many PV arrays, then you can click the small link to see them all. Yeah. Then next is the frequency of the AC output was added. Already available now. And this is useful mainly for AC coupled systems. So this system is now connected to the grid, but an AC coupled solar system off grid will control the power coming from the PV inverter by increasing the frequency. So people familiar with such systems and troubleshooting them or keeping an eye on them are often keen to see the output frequency. And we've added that here in this extra details box. Then next, we've added more details to the grid, to the input. So you now see voltage and amps. It used to be only watts. And the voltage and amps, you only see them with the new firmware version of Venus OS. So that's coming in January or February. Right, Alex? That's what you told me this morning. Volts and amps depend on the new OS version.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Good, thanks. And for those not familiar with such system, this is a three-phase system, hence the triple values everywhere. And then next, we also added information about the generator. So here you see a system which has a generator. So this is a single-phase system. It's currently powered by a generator. Well, actually, these are it's a simulation. So the generator is not actually generating -0 watts. It's a simulation, but the purpose here is to show this information. And personally, I like it a lot because now on the dashboard of VRM, you can easily see if the generator is running, why it's running. So in this case, it's running because it's manually started. But if it would have been started automatically, for example, due to state of charge or due to a high load, you would see that. And also it shows you how long it is already running. And in this simulation, it's already running for a day and 15 minutes. Then next, a few things more on the detail side, not power, but temperature and humidity and tank levels. So here on the right, you can see two temperatures. So this system has two temperature sensors. And in the details view, we've added that you can see the minimum and the maximum over the last 24 hours. I know at least one customer is using this to monitor fridges for some commercial applications. So they need to check temperatures for regulations. They need to know that the fridge hasn't failed temporarily or anything else. And with this, he can very easily do that on his daily check. No need to open any other page. Also, it shows the relative humidity. Super nice if you have a cottage or boat you're monitoring over the winter or in a very humid area. And then lastly, the atmospheric or barometric pressure. So this information, you might be wondering, where is that coming from? I didn't know there was a relative humidity. I didn't know there was a humidity sensor. Well, there was not, but it's coming. So with the new firmware version of Venus OS, the 2.80 version coming first quarter next year, we add 2 types of wireless temperature sensors. And these sensors provide also humidity and pressure. So these are from Roovy. Roovy is a brand. It's a Scandinavian brand of temperature sensors. And they're super simple to install. They have a small coin battery. They fit into the palm of your hand. And with the coin battery, they work for approximately 2 years. There's no wiring to be done. So you can just put them somewhere. I added them in my own boat as well, because I want to monitor that over the winter, that it doesn't freeze and doesn't mold. So I tucked one in the engine room, one in the main living area, one somewhere below so that I can monitor the temperature below the floorboards and the humidity. And that was it. Within 15 minutes, I was finished. I think that's a great addition. It connects over Bluetooth. It works with the servo jigs, but also with older jigs devices if you insert a USB dongle. And as said, they're coming. But the support of it in software is coming first quarter next year. And then last on the dashboard are the tanks. So here you see 2 tank levels, rainwater and diesel. Now these were added already a while ago, but I still wanted to mention them here so that everybody knows that's available. And with all these additions, personally, I think this dashboard has become a super powerful, at a glance overview with all the details you might want of a solar system, or of a Victron Energy system, not just solar, but be that a boat, an RV, or anything else. Any questions so far? And I'm not reading the chat.
Yeah, there are many questions.
Now
yes, there are many questions in the chat. So
I'll open the chat. You mentioned Venus. What about the servo? Shall I take them?
Yeah, please. And there's also some in the Q&A. Just be aware, not just the chat, but the Q&A also.
Okay, good. Venus OS is the software, and the servo jigs is the hardware. So this wireless temperature thing works on the servo, and for it to work, you'll need to update the software on it. And it's the same software. So the servo jigs and the color control jigs and the other jigs monitoring product range models all use Venus OS. So whenever I'm saying Venus OS, and in case you have a servo, then what I'm saying also applies to you. And Martin Lemke with the color control with external Bluetooth USB, yes, that will work. The USB dongle needs to be compatible and everything, and there we have to find out a little what is compatible and what is not compatible. But yes, works. I'm checking it. Yeah, I don't.
Can I ask you some? So some of the questions that are coming up, they want to know when the Roovy sensor is available to be ordered.
Yeah, already now the Roovy sensors are available through the website of roovy.com, the company behind them. We're not stocking them ourselves at the moment because that would just add a lot of cost. So the Roovy website, they have a super nice web shop. They ship the same day or the next day. And at least for now, we won't stock them ourselves. We could, of course, if that becomes helpful, for example, for Africa, because then it can be included in a shipment, or other areas where customs takes more time and effort. We'll look at that going forward.
Another quick question, just asking if the customers can depend on our open source version continuing to be available.
Yes, they can. We have no plans whatsoever on stopping that. And slowly, we're we want to make more components open source.
Yeah, even more, better.
Yes. Beta version of the new OS for Jeff Kunkel. Yes, that's available. If you search Google for Venus OS beta, then you'll find a page explaining how to do that.
Do you know the range? Do you know the range of the Rubies?
Yeah, well, 10
so if
meters.
we say line of sight,
yeah, 10 meters. Well, line of sight, it should also be 20 meters approximately, between 10 and 20, I think. On my own experience, but yeah, that's aluminum. Yeah, then it's not so far anymore if you put the receiver in an aluminum room. Of course. Then about I saw something about a wind sensor that's available already. Wind and irradiation. We're compatible with a German company that makes irradiation sensors, including a wind sensor accessory. I forgot the name just now. Now maybe Guy can add it.
Yes, I'll respond to the question in the Q&A with a link.
Yeah. Any others, Guy?
Yes, there is still. There was another one about. There's another one about the tank sensor interfaces. Again, I'll reply with a link to what's available for our sensor interface.
Yeah.
Ruby integration is fantastic. Do they need the gateway, the specialized gateway to use the Rubies?
Yeah, no, you do not. Just the Ruby sensors, and they're not expensive. They're 20 euros a piece, or 30, something like that. Well, I can show it here. So if we buy
another question while you wait, Matthias, was the sensor. It's a battery powered.
Yes.
How long's the battery?
Oh, it's 40 euros, not 30.
It goes down. It goes down quite dramatically. So if you add more than one sensor, they become cheaper per unit. And if you get to 100 euros, the shipping's free. So
yeah, I don't. No, anyway, you can look at. Oh, here, look. Now we're below 30. Yes, it's battery powered. It's a coin cell battery, so it's a small CR something battery, and it lives up to 2 years, or between 1.5 and 3. It probably depends on the temperature, the quality of the coin cell battery. But at least the ones I used already work for a year. Yeah, and Klaus Spithouse says the Ruvitech Pros are in back order. Yeah, they're new, so they're still ramping up production of those.
What's the maximum number of temperature sensors you can connect, Matthias?
Now we have a Jonathan Cecil from the YouTube videos. I don't know how many he has, but it's already 15 or something in his boat, or 10. Yeah, the exact limit.
Yeah, I'd say more than 10.
Yeah, at some point it will be the air time, but no. I think 30 will also work, and I wouldn't be surprised if 50 also works. But I haven't tried.
We don't know the top limit yet.
No.
And
no.
Nobody's bought enough to hit it. Yes,
I mean 60 or 50 of those temperatures. I'm pretty sure it will work, but a common number like 10 works. So I see. Yeah. Well, we'll soon move on. For the questions, perhaps does it work better if people put them in the Q&A, Guy?
Yeah, that's working pretty well for me. I'm making my way through there. Yeah.
Good, because I see a lot of questions coming in the chat, but also questions in the Q&A. Yeah, Guy.
Yeah. So the advantage of the Q&A for everyone. Yeah, the advantage of the Q&A is that at the end of the webinar, I'll be able to send them out to everyone. They're more documented. So the chat will be, it's everything in there at once, but the Q&A will actually have, here's the question, here was the answer. So it's much more.
Yeah, understood. So I'd like to recommend to everyone to please use the Q&A button and not the chat for your questions. Thanks. All right, I'll move on to not go over the 1 hour. I'll be available a little bit longer, so we can take more questions after this. But great to see such enthusiasm about this. All right. I'll close the, yeah, still on the dashboard. Here at the bottom, we made 2 small improvements, but I had myself never noticed them until Alex made me aware of them recently. So 2 things. We added the time range. So now you have a more exact definition of what time range you're looking at, or what time range the data you see pertains to. And then lastly, the last dot is now green, and it shows the battery percentage now. And on this graph, it's not very clear, but if there's a wide range, so for example, if today the battery would already have dropped from 80 to 30% and recharged a little bit, then the green dot shows where it is right now, which is a nice, small but very useful improvement. Then we have a few new widgets, which I'll show you just as a static screenshot. Probably here. Yeah. I'll wait a bit for the page to load for everyone.
While that waits, Matthias, a quick question from the chat was, is there an open interface that people can use to send other temperature humidity data to VRM?
No. Well, no, there's no open interface to send data directly to VRM. But in Venus OS, you could add a driver to read more data from a certain other sensor. We can discuss that a little bit more after the meeting, after the presentation. Let's do that. Yeah. So I'm sure by now they have loaded. So the one on the top left is the consumed amp hours. Well, anyone with a BMV will be familiar with that value. So the data was there, but we never had a graph for it. Now we do. And the other one are the alarms. Yeah, especially with the managed battery, so with the CAN bus connected lithium battery, it's good that you can easily see when there was an alarm or a warning, and then what it was, high voltage or cell imbalance. The exact available alarms and warnings differ a little bit per brand and type and make of the battery. So this is just an example. Now again, a small but useful addition. Yeah, then we're at a demo from you, Alex. Oh no, one more from me, sorry. I removed it from my list. Another one, this one is, this widget is not available yet. Alex has made it yesterday afternoon and needs some finishing up to do. But what we did here is integrate all these environmental data into one graph. So you see the temperature in blue. Now this is actually the office of one of our software developers in South Africa, who has quite a stable temperature. And then you see the atmospheric pressure and the humidity going up and down a little bit. And what you see there on the right is that it has 2 y-axes. So the yellow one is for the pressure, and the other one is for the humidity. And so the graph, it looks like there has been quite a significant increase and decrease in humidity, but actually it's just a few percent. Apparently he has a stable environment to work in. All right, Alex, now I do think, sorry, another one. So this is a screenshot from Jono's boat showing all the different temperature sensors. So he has a temperature sensor showing the outside. It's in the UK, so there is between 0 and 14 degrees Celsius. That's on the top left. But for example, on the lower right, you see the fridge. Now, a fridge typically has a compressor and a cooling element, which is either off or on. So all the time you see the fridge increasing, and then the cooling, the compressor switches on, cools it down 2 degrees, and then waits again until it's 2 degrees higher, and so forth and so forth. enough about temperature, I would say. Next one, Alex.
Right. Thank you, Matthijs. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to show you a new feature we released recently on embedding your VRM dashboard on your website or blog. For that, I'm going to share my screen. I hope you can see it. Okay. So this new feature is located here in the share menu of VRM. So if you click share, for every installation that has site sharing enabled, now there is a new option at the bottom to copy this piece of code. It's an iframe. You can copy it and include it in your website or blog or any other use case. Let's take the example of this coffee company in Australia. A use case for them could be showing in their page the production of energy, so they can show what kind of energy sources they can use. So here I included that piece of code, so you can see a minimal version of the dashboard. It's this new dashboard is also fully responsible, so it won't break the layout of any website. It will look good on mobile as well, so people can embed it in any kind of context. So this website is just an example, but it can also be, for example, a blog post or an article showcasing a certain use case that can have the addition of VRM data.
That's a nice, I hadn't thought about that yet, Alex. Yeah. It's a nice one indeed.
Yeah, so that's the whole feature. It's pretty simple, but the use cases can be virtually unlimited depending on users' preferences.
Cool.
Back to you, Matthijs.
Yeah, well, any questions on the embedding while we have Alex?
I haven't seen any on the embedding. There's many questions coming in, but not specific to that.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thank you again, Alex. Yeah, okay, here Dennis says, embedding thing is nice. Didn't catch how to embed. So the code is in the share your site section. So on the VRM portal, if you go to an installation, then, well, you have the list on the left, dashboard, advanced, device list, alarm log, all the pages that most of you will be familiar with. And then if you click share, it's there shows the code. And Klaus, right now, it's just the dashboard, not one widget.
Yeah. So there was another question, which is relevant to that screen there, asking, can they remove the location that's shown in the embedded iframe?
Yeah, that's a nice suggestion. We'll fix that.
Yeah.
Oh well, maybe it works.
Yeah, let's try it. Hide the exact location, and then if we refresh this page.
Yeah, we should say that bar you can see at the top is actually part of their website, showing their location. That's not part of the so it's going to be a little bit confusing on that screen, but there is a location box. Yeah. So it's gone.
Yeah.
There might be a little bit of delay, but it will hide.
Oh no, there it is. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, you can hide the exact location. And then I saw. I saw lots of questions fly by, but one was about an API. Well, there is an API. If you search Google for VRM API or Victron VRM API, you'll find the right page. And all the data that you see is available through the API. Actually, our own, the VRM portal uses the exact same API. So any data we make available in the VRM portal is also available to anyone else that wants to make that available on his own page.
I would like to add something to this. So this solution is the easiest way to get data from VRM. So you just copy the code and put it on your website. But the API and even MQTT connections are other options, more advanced options to get data from VRM. And there is documentation on that online, as Matthijs mentioned.
Yeah, that's a good context. It's nice that we now have this also this simple way to embed. Yeah. Good. I have no idea what time it is, but
8:30. Well, halfway through.
okay, good. Now we're also sort of halfway through the list. Let's move on. Next, yeah, some small things, and some of these actually have been added a while ago. Is my screen visible?
Not yet. Just your face.
Yeah. Let's see why not. Oh, it's not sharing anymore, maybe. Better like this? Yes.
Yep.
All right. Some of them were added a while ago already, but I wanted to show them anyway. So we have 3 new languages: Dutch, Chinese, and Turkish. And these are available in the on the left side in the menu. Then another small thing, we have added configuration of the temperature unit and the volume unit. So you can now choose between liters and gallons, and choose between degrees Celsius and degrees Fahrenheit. Maybe we even added degrees Kelvin, but I don't know many people that use that. A nice addition, especially for people familiar with Fahrenheit and other units. Then another small improvement. So this is about remote firmware updates. So you have a system somewhere, can be anywhere in the world, accessible through VRM, and then updating its firmware remotely. But first I'll show how it now works. So once you click update, a pop-up will come and it will show the different steps. So it first shows that it's uploading the firmware to the system over the internet. Then it's doing some more preparations. And thereafter, I'll pause the video. Thereafter, it's actually updating the device, that is writing firmware to device. So in case you're updating a solar charger, then that's the step where it's actually writing the new firmware to the solar charger. It's the 5th step in the list. And the main reason to show these details is that I see a misconception often that people think that the internet connection is required to be stable all the way through. Yeah, and it's not. We very specifically design all these remote features such that first it uses the internet connection to upload the new firmware to the system, but not actually touching it. So it's just put there on a separate space temporarily. And then once it has fully finished uploading the file, verified it, that nothing, that it didn't become corrupted during the transfer, only then it starts updating the device or the component of the system that was selected to be firmware updated. So that's an important thing to know. And while on this topic, it's the same with Victron Connect. So if you use the Victron Connect app on your phone, you don't need internet to do a firmware update, because the Victron Connect app contains all the firmware files for all Victron products. So if you're out somewhere, well, you can try this easily by switching on airplane mode, or by somehow making internet, blocking the internet connection on your phone. Then try to update the solar charger or a battery monitor or anything else, and you'll see that it just works. Doesn't need an internet connection. And that's an understanding that would be great if everybody gets it. Then there's the new feature notifications. Let's see. Yeah, you can see my screen again. Here on the lower left, there's a new icon since today or yesterday. And what it does is show new features. So there will be a list of recently added features. And if you click it, it will show a picture and a short text of what we've updated to the VRM portal. And the aim is the same as this webinar, to better explain all the improvements we're doing, because there are continuously people working on the VRM portal, and making all sorts of enhancements, many small, sometimes a large one. And the goal here is to better inform. And then, any questions so far? Shall we do a short stop for questions on the topic that we covered just now?
Yes, there are some questions. You've already answered this one, but let's just reiterate. So the question is, when updating the firmware on the device, such as a Quattro, doesn't that wipe the settings, requiring to be reprogrammed? Is there any way to save the settings?
Yeah, it does wipe the settings. And there's no way, well, there's a way for you to save the settings on your laptop and then upload them again afterwards. But it does wipe the settings. And I say that we want that to be different as well, but for the Quattros and the multis, for the existing generation, that is so complex, that we couldn't do it. But for any future generation, it will work just like the solar chargers and the battery monitors. No wiping of any settings.
Matthijs, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think users can use the remote V configure feature of VRM to save their settings and then apply them afterwards.
Yes.
And also the model, when you update a multiplus or a Quattro, now provides you instructions on what's going to happen, and you have to agree on those and to make sure that you don't do it by accident and you don't lose any settings by mistake.
Yeah, absolutely right. The models and the whole process or wizard or flow guides you through saving the settings in advance and then reapplying the settings afterwards. So you don't have to go there physically to reapply the settings. But, well, as warned in all the models and text, I think there's 5 warnings you have to click through before updating an inverter charger. It is the heart of the Victron Energy system, and in some cases even the internet connection depends on the inverter charger to operate. And then of course something can go wrong, and then someone has to go there. One other thing.
Matthijs?
Yeah, no, never mind. I was looking at the Q&A. Yeah, go ahead, Guy.
Well, yeah. I'm also looking at the Q&A. The question count several times was asking about updating firmware when there's a BMS connected.
That with today's VBus BMS, I'm pretty sure that that's not possible.
We get to what you're googling now.
Yeah, I'm looking looking
good,
for
just
the
so
document.
You know. The screen's still shared.
So you can see it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the document for firmware updates. And it doesn't work if you have a VBus BMS. Same thing. Clearly, I'm not happy about that, but it was impossible to overcome. We're coming with a new VBus BMS, which doesn't have this limitation. And then I see a question: if it wipes settings, does it wipe node red code? No, it doesn't. The wiping of settings is only about the inverter charger. So that's the multiplus or the Quattro, or the inverter charger in an easy solar. But the GX device doesn't have any settings wiping.
Another quick one you can answer quickly or easily is this available on mobile, the remote updates?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Any others, Guy?
I'm looking through. I think you've answered them all. I'll answer, which means I can answer them individually, but I think you've covered the ones I can see.
Great.
Yep. Specific to that feature, there's hundreds of questions, but trying to keep it on topic.
Yeah. Yeah, I see one. Where do you find the what's new feature? It's here on the lower left, Peter Merle. It's a small icon. And if there's something new, there will be a blue dot or something that is subtly, in a subtle way, asking for attention. Good. Let's continue. Next is a feature. Oh, wrong thing. This you can see, right? Yes, good.
Still looking at VRM.
Yeah. Not anymore though. No, now it's loading my PowerPoint presentation.
Back to the slides.
Yeah. This is about user teams and installation groups. Also a feature released a while ago. I think somewhere over the summer already, but wanted to take the opportunity to show it here. Yeah, it's all about managing large groups of installation. We already had a question earlier from Seb. He has 590 installations to manage. I know some other customers who have 1,000 or thousands, multiple thousands. And yeah, then you group them. You group them per geographical location or per type or per something else. And similarly, if you have that many installations, you also have teams. So there's a team of installers, or there's 2 or 3 teams of installers, one per geographical region again, one for the north, one for the east. And there's a team in the control room monitoring it. And for that, we added these 2 new features. One is that you can create teams, user teams. So here in this screenshot, I'm showing 2 teams. There's the Sydney team and the Adelaide team. Well, you can see how many members there are, and you can see how many installations are linked to that team. The obvious advantage is then you can link an installation to a team, or you can link a whole group of installations to a team. So to administer it all, it's much less work, and also it's far easier to check who has access to what. And here are the groups. So installation groups. Now, same thing, all the installations in Sydney, all the installations in Adelaide. And then you can see how many installations there are and how many users are linked to that. And then lastly, another feature we added for the same purpose of managing lots of installations is that you can copy or clone, to use the same word, the configuration of the advanced page from one installation to another. So if you have set that all up as per how you'd like to see it, you can quickly copy it from one to another. And that saves a lot of time if you have to manage a lot of systems. I also notice it myself. If the information is on the same place on the screen or on the same place in the overview, it's much easier to quickly digest what you're looking at. So nice features. Any questions on these, Guy?
Not yet. I haven't seen. I'm still working my way through. No, not yet. Lots of questions, but not relevant. Not about groups or teams.
Yeah, good. Then let's.
They do tend to lag though, Matthias. I have seen last time.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
People take at least 30 seconds to.
Yes, I understand.
Then they come and you're on to the next thing.
Yeah. Well, maybe if someone has a question about this and has a microphone, perhaps he can raise his hand. And we can do it good by voice. It's used a lot, Alex? You told me yesterday that there were 600 user groups.
Yeah, that's about the number by now. And about 400 user teams already, with quite a few members in them.
Yeah. Yeah, great. All right. Now let's.
Okay, yeah. So there is a question about groups.
Yeah.
Asking, can you group multiple GX devices on one site?
No. Well, you can, but it
Sort of.
won't. Yes, you can put them in a group, but then they won't then show one coherent dashboard adding everything together. But is it in the Q&A?
Yes, it was in the Q&A.
So does
Nicholas.
the Q&A allow a little bit back and forth, or is it just one
Nope.
question and one
Just
answer?
once. That's right.
That's a little bit limited. Yeah, I'm curious, why would you like to do that?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, perhaps it was the same as you. I mean, there is an ability to connect one GX device to another GX device on site using the NMEA 2000 values. That's a possibility, depending if what you want to see is something that's passed through that protocol and all the limitations that come with it.
Yeah, exactly, with lots of limitations. So well, please, if you can make a new question and then explain why you want multiple GX devices on one site, Nicolas Cavadis, then
I see that Nicolas raised his hand, so maybe we can give him the opportunity to talk. Guy, can you do that?
Yep, I've allowed him. He has to unmute. Nick, the floor is yours.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. So I've got applications in marine where we have multiple inverters installed and we have multiple battery banks, and we combine. At the moment, I have multiple sites for the same vessel, but really it's all on the one boat. It's all together. So be able to have one dashboard that shows multiple battery banks and also multiple inverters, or the combination of that would be really handy.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I'll have to think a little bit about that. It's quite a specific, specific application. But I understand. Okay, we'll have to get back to you on that somehow. It's one thing, of course, is that you can use the installation overview to see all of them, but then you see and group them by tag. But it's not the ideal solution. I understand. Yeah, it's pretty.
Our systems are getting bigger now, so we've got some systems with dual inverters and dual lithiums, but now we're getting systems where we might have an engine room solution, and then we've got a solution for the radio supply, then we've got a solution for the emergency radios or emergency lighting, which might have an inverter, and then we've got solutions, and then you want the bridge to be powered by a separate battery and a separate inverter. So it starts becoming a lot of equipment, and then you've got multiple pages that you're looking at all that gear.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
And it's the same on the GX displays. If you've got a display, it sort of centralizes around the inverter and doesn't centralize around, we've got multiple battery banks. You have to go to the advanced to see if there's a radio bank issue until the alarm comes up. So.
Yeah. Well, we are making improvements. Well, on the VRM portal, I didn't show it today, but we did it already. You might have noticed that if you have multiple batteries, the VRM portal shows them all on the dashboard.
It does now.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it does. And also on the user interface on the GX device itself. So on the GX Touch, it will also show multiple battery banks.
Okay, that's really handy.
That will take a while. So, well, I'd say late 2022. I certainly hope it's sooner, but realistically, not. But that will help a lot. But still, the overview with the moving arrows, etc., I don't think we'll anytime soon update the whole system so that one GX device can create multiple of such systems. But I don't know if that's super necessary.
Yeah, we also have a limitation with GX devices that, and like your Bluetooth stuff, if we're got a 60 meter boat, we can't always get the Bluetooth devices to reach throughout the boat.
No.
So it's also an interesting to be able to put multiple GX devices so we can then put sensors further away if needs be.
Yeah, that yeah. That's this is one I'll need to check. But range extending, you're now talking about temperature.
Oh, so we put multiple sensors everywhere, so not just temperature, might be voltage. One of the limitations now is that if you have a shunt to manage your house supply, which means your current and voltage, but then what device do we put on the start bank? What do we put on a generator supply? We have boats with 9 battery banks independent. So, and we want to monitor them all through Victron if we can.
Yeah, understood.
And steel boats don't transfer Bluetooth that well.
What type of boats are these? I'm getting very curious now. And then we need to move on, but
super boats.
Yeah.
I do a lot of fishing trawlers, commercial shipping.
Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Two last things. So things are let me switch the topic a bit. Two last things to present, one by me, one by Guy. These are features coming on the VRM portal early next year. So the first one is a customizable graph, and I'm showing it to you as a screenshot. So, and this, what you're looking at here is the page where you can configure the graph. So on the right, you see an example. And what it allows you to do is combine any parameter, and I don't know up to how many, but at least 4 showing from the screenshot, into one graph, which I think is a super cool feature. If I remember correctly, it was mostly Guy pushing for this. And then maybe me holding off a little bit, but I'm happy it happened, Guy.
Yeah, me too.
So here what you see is we selected battery watts on the first parameter, and then temperature on the voltage, starter battery voltage on the second, and then temperature as the third value to see in black. And you can also combine information from different devices. So if you'd want to make one graph showing the PV array output for all your solar chargers or all your PV arrays, that will be possible with this. Or one graph with different DC current readings, well, or anything else that can be done here. Any questions?
The chat is extremely enthusiastic about this, profusely encouraging and excited. Maybe we'll have to push the timeline of this on ahead, Matthias.
Timeline, sorry?
We might have to push this one out quicker. They're very happy
yes.
about this.
Well, with a bit of luck, it's sooner, but it's
Yeah. Question is how many? What's the maximum number of?
Yeah, Alex.
So as you can see in the screenshot, you can have 5 for now. So it has parameters 4 out of 5 at the top.
Oh yeah, I see.
And in terms of devices, ideally we want to combine any kind of devices together. So we can have, for example, 1 parameter from each device. The challenge we are facing at the moment is with the amount of vertical series, so y-axis numbers, because you have different units. So we don't want to have too many of those, but we are finishing it up and making it so it looks nice as well.
Well, but 5 is fine, Alex, or 6 even, because then you have 3 on the left and 3 on the right.
Yep.
And if you're looking for something specific, 4 on the left and 4 on the right, it's not it might look busy, but if it's the data you're looking for, it's perfect.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, cool.
The question is, people want to set their own custom scale, which I know now is not a feature, but that's a request.
Yeah. That could be a nice addition to this.
Yeah.
And a small one, I suppose, Alex, right?
Yeah, so maybe in a future version,
yes,
we can add more configuration options.
Yeah.
For access, for example, or labels.
Yeah. Yeah, we should first
Not-
finish this one, but being able to configure the skill would be nice. Yeah.
Another quick answer was how many custom widgets can you create? Is it just the one or multiples?
There is no limit at the moment, so they will show at the end of the widgets panel at the top, so you can add them and give them a name. As long as they have different names, you can add as many as you want.
This one's off topic, but I just caught my eye, Matthias. Someone in the Q&A is offering to help with translations if that's of interest, and they're wondering what to do or who to ask.
Yes.
Support.
I was even wondering whether I should just ask it out loud in the meeting. Yeah, if you can put it in the Q&A, include the language, then yes. Hi, Philip. Yeah, it's about to end, I'm afraid. It's but it's recorded, so you can. Oh, and you can't hear anything. Now, if someone can type the answer to Philip, then thanks. So, yeah, what was the thing before that, guy?
Translations offering to help.
Yes, translation.
And what to do next?
Yes, well, put it in the Q&A, or in the Q&A is best, including the language, and then we'll contact you. So for some languages, we now have a specialist that helps because we've been using translation agencies, and that works great for documents as long as the agency is technical enough. But for VRM Portal and Victron Connect, it doesn't, and we're actually looking for people to help us there. And those people need to be familiar with Victron, because if you're not familiar with our equipment, then time has proven that then the quality of the translation is too low. And probably some of the people doing those translations are currently here in the meeting, even Stephanie or Peter. Good. Yeah, and I see another one. That's a nice one, Alex, to remember. Jos is asking if it's possible to download the data from the custom widget. And that would be nice. That right now you can download all the data, and then you get that huge Excel sheet. But if there would be a quick way to download just the information from the graph you're looking at, then people could, with this, basically define their own custom download.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Ready for me?
Yes, we are. Last one.
Nice. Great. So I have to stop sharing your screen. Is that that's fine?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to drop it straight in. This is I have been waiting. Yeah, you can see it.
Yes.
Wonderful. So yes, I'm very excited about the custom widget feature. But that's very practical for me. I also have an aesthetic need. Now across nearly all of my applications, I've set to dark mode. Good news coming. We've finally got some designers and developers working on this. So I've got a few slides to show you about what to expect coming up. This is the overview screen. This is this new screen. I think it really pops with the colors. I'm a big fan. Much easier on the eyes. If we head into the a site, for instance, you can see the dashboard overview. I think it's looking really great. You can see the historical data down there as well. We head into the advanced, and you can see the options here. I'll give that a second to pause, and you can see what we've got. Look, there's not a lot to say about it. It's just a nice looking thing. There is a few design decisions still to be made before this can be implemented, but as you can see, I think it's almost ready to go. So hopefully coming soon. By default, it'll be set so that if you have dark mode set on your device, it will recognize that setting. So if you don't have dark mode set on your device and your operating system at that level, there'll be an option inside VRM to adjust it, either have it permanently white or permanently dark, or adjusting depending on the time of day as your operating system sets that preference. I think that's us. So now, look, I also want to say there's some hundreds and hundreds of questions still to be answered, some of them off topic. Matthias and I are both allowed to ask some time to stick around, and we'll make our way through ones which I think are on the track. I probably won't be able to get to all of them because there's now over 200 in the queue, but we'll do our best to answer as much as we can.
Yeah, and for those not answered, use community, yeah? Guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Please do. Actually, quite a lot of them I probably won't answer. Anything about Raspberry Pis and custom accessories and things like that. Aside from saying, please check the community, I will. Anything like that, and particularly around Victron's open source efforts, we have a really active modifications space in the community, and Victron's very encouraging as a brand of people doing that. But for us and our team, we don't focus on things like that. So if you could please keep all the questions regarding custom development work and things like that to the modification space on the community, I think that's a really good balance of support, but not too much distraction from the core product. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll stop sharing and we can get back.
Yeah. Well, then that was the last one already.
Yeah.
Now, 1 minute after 11.
Yeah, we're punctual.
Well, for once.
Not quite German precision, but
we're not always functional, but now we are. That's nice.
Yeah.
So, well, let's take questions.
Yeah. So one question I saw pop up repeatedly. I know we didn't make a notification on it today, but Matthias, maybe you want to say it. Many questions about SMS notifications or other kinds of. Yeah. Do you want to comment?
Well, but Alex probably knows best, or not. Well, I can introduce a little bit. So we are working on better notifications. So right now, the only way to get a notification is by email. It's a big project to improve that, and Alex has been working on it. It might be that it's waiting for me right now or for a while already.
Yeah, so we defined the where the options will be and how this is going to look in VRM, but we are still deciding on which channels to use, because in different areas of the world, more things are popular than the other. So for definitely push notifications for iOS and Android, they will be there, but we are also considering WhatsApp, Messenger, and Telegram as options to get your notifications and your alarms. Will be nice if people can post in the chat what will be their preferred way of getting these notifications. It will give us an idea of which ones are most interesting for everyone.
Yeah, and definitely, I didn't even give you the feedback. I discussed this with the sales managers in November, and push notifications would already take 90 or 95% of all demand or need. Take care of that. So yeah. Yeah, and then of course there's people that want Telegram, WhatsApp, SMS.
Yeah, so one channel that I think it's valuable is SMS, but it's also a cost involved into that because the mobile carriers charge for SMSs. So that's a decision to make, of course.
Yeah. No, but it would be nice. So push only works with a good internet connection and a good everything. And then SMS is the most basic one that will always work as long as there is reception on the phone. Yeah.
Another question about dark mode for the GX Touch interface.
You're asking for someone or what?
Yes. Yeah, they're asking, can we also get dark mode for the GX Touch?
Oh, sorry. Yes, yes, that's coming. Yeah.
We'll probably have a similar sort of event like this when we have more to announce or more to show, Matthias. When it's the design perhaps is locked in. Yep.
Yes, I've been wanting to do this for, well, I don't know when we discussed this first, Guy, a long time ago. But now that we
2 years ago. Yeah.
But now that we finally do it, I must say that it's it's great. Yeah, I didn't expect so many people to join and so many people to be interested and have questions, and so it's it's great. So yes, it's coming on the GX Touch dark mode and light mode.